Okay, well, Susanna, are you ready? We can get started.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Well, to everyone again, thank you so much for joining us. This is Compassion Health Toronto. I'm Daniel from Compassion Health Toronto. We're putting on a free virtual clinic on Friday and today. So I'll put a link in the chat box for everyone to see, but we're offering a range of services, and we're really pleased to offer this free online cooking demo with Susanna. Looks like it's going to be really interesting. Susanna will share more, but just want to thank everyone for joining us. And thank you, Susanna, for sharing your time to do this amazing cookie demo. So we really thank you for that. And I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to join you guys today. My name is Arlete Susanna, and as was mentioned, I'm a certified holistic nutritionist from Not by Bread Alone, and I'm happy to welcome everybody into my kitchen this morning. This is going to be a first for me to try to maneuver with the whole live component and the whole online thing. So if I'm going to try my best to manage the screen. I'm here by myself, so maybe we can begin with a word of prayer so that everything can start and run smoothly. If you can join me, bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this beautiful new day. We thank you for the opportunity to have this event, Compassion Health Toronto, online, virtually, since we can't meet in person. Lord, this is such a blessing to be able to have the technology to be able to do this. So, Lord, I ask for a blessing on the technology, that everything will work well and properly, and that everyone is able to see and hear and participate. And Lord, please be with me also as I present, so that everything will be clear, and so that everyone will be blessed by it, Lord, and so that your name can be honored and glorified. I ask for your presence now and a blessing on each participant, and if anyone else is going to be joining us, to have them join us quickly so they don't miss out on too much. Thank you for everything. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so today we're going to be learning how to make baked oatmeal patties. And now these are all plant-based. The recipes that I'm going to be sharing with you today are all plant-based, whole foods, plant-based, healthy, and nutritionist approved, so that they can maximize our health and boost our immunity as much as possible. So we're going to get started right away. I do have the recipe that I will share with you guys afterwards. I don't know if you want me to post it on the screen, but for now, so that I'm not messing with any of the technology, I promise I'll share the recipe at the end, and everybody could get a copy of the actual recipe, but I'm putting it close by so you can kind of get an idea. So the ingredients for today's recipe is you need to start with 4 cups of quick oats, so oatmeal, and then 4 cups of water to cook the oats with. And then 1 red onion, or whatever colored onion that you have, diced, 1/3 of a cup of avocado oil or olive oil, whichever you prefer to use, a cup of your favorite tomato sauce, so any kind of pasta sauce, whether it's homemade or whether it's store-bought, organic, your choice, a 1/2 cup of chopped cashews, and for those of you who may have any nut allergies or allergies to cashews, you can definitely substitute these cashews with pecans or almonds, or if you have nut allergies, you can even substitute with sunflower seeds as well. It's just to give it an extra protein boost and more texture. As well as a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is an ingredient that is very high in vitamin B12, and if you're not familiar with it, it looks sort of like that. It's kind of like a flaky kind of yeast, and it has a sort of cheesy, nutty flavor. It's very delicious and healthy for us. A teaspoon of active dry yeast to help the patties to grow, because we are going to be baking them. A 1/2 cup of fresh parsley, chopped fresh parsley. And again, with the herbs that you use, you can also be, instead of using parsley, you can also use whatever fresh herb that you enjoy. So you can do fresh chopped coriander or fresh chopped basil. It's just to add some green, to add some flavor. Fresh herbs always add an extra boost, and if they're live foods. The next ingredient would be 2 cloves of minced garlic, so raw garlic. I also add 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. It sounds like it's a lot of garlic, but the oats are pretty bland if you don't spice them up nicely. As well as a teaspoon of dried basil, 2 teaspoons of onion powder or minced onion, whichever that you prefer. We're also using the fresh. A teaspoon of ground coriander, a teaspoon of Italian seasonings, and then sea salt or herbamare to taste. This is the salt that I use. It's a product called herbamare. I'm not sure if you guys can see that or if you're familiar with it. It's basically fine sea salt mixed with organic herbs and vegetables for flavor. It has a little bit less sodium and less salt. So if you're trying to reduce your salt intake, this is a good healthy product that you can use because it uses some sea kelp and vegetables as well for added iodine, natural iodine. The other last ingredient that I like to add is a small dash of cayenne pepper. And that's just to give it a little bit of zing. You can definitely opt to not put that, but if you like it to have a little bit of a zing, I don't put too much. I literally just put a dash, like I said, just for added flavor. So those are basically the ingredients. Now I'm going to try my best to show you how this all gets assembled. So bear with me as I maneuver here. I'm going to try to lower this so that you can see these. Uh-oh. Am I making it better or worse where I have it? Can you see it better or worse? You guys okay like that? If I work from the counter, are you able to see?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm going to have my back half turned to you because I'm going to try to, I can try maybe doing it from the table. Let's see, sorry. I don't know how I'm going to show you this. Okay, we'll stick to trying to show you from the counter. Okay, so here you go. So you're going to start with your cooked oatmeal. So you bring 4 cups of water to a boil. You add your quick oats, and then you're literally cooking the oats until they're soft. I usually add a little pinch of salt to the cooking water, and then you're going to let the water boil, add in the oatmeal, cover and reduce it so that it cooks the oats nicely. It cooks for about 5 to 10 minutes until all the water is absorbed from the oats, and then you turn off the heat, cover it to let it sort of soak up all the water, and then you're gonna be left with pretty dry looking oats. That's okay. It's not to have as oatmeal. So, whoops, can you still see me? Okay, it's not to have as oatmeal. You want them to be dry. Okay, I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Can you see that? So it looks kind of dry and crumbly, still hot because I just finished making them. And you want them to be dry like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start adding the ingredients that I listed off to you. And I'm gonna show you and share with you what they are as I put them in. So give me just a second. Sorry, stepping away for a moment. And I'll show you, I use the avocado oil because they have a high smoke point. If you like to use olive oil, you can, but olive oil is, if you cook it at too high of a temperature, or if you cook it, it actually denatures the healing properties of the olive oil. So avocado oil is probably healthier for doing baking because it has a higher smoke point. So I forgot to measure that out. Okay, so I'm going to be adding all the ingredients to my oats. So here we go. I'm going to be adding my minced onion. You're just mincing that so that it's nice and small. You can have it chunky. The chunkier that you have your ingredients, the more that they'll show up on your oats or on your oat patties. So you're going to go ahead and add your onions, and then you're going to add your avocado oil, which I showed you. This is the brand that I use. It's a 100% pure avocado oil, and it has high heat high heat capabilities. So like I said, the cooking smoke point is high. I'm going to add that in as well. And I use the spatula to scrape that all nicely in there. Then I'm going to add my tomato sauce. And like I said, you can use whatever tomato sauce you like, whatever pasta sauce you like. Typically, I make my pasta sauce fresh, but very often if I don't have time or if I run out of the stuff that I've already preserved, I buy just a plain marinara sauce or a basil marinara sauce, whatever is your favorite tomato-based pasta sauce. Okay, so add a cup of that into the oats. Tomatoes are very high in lycopene, and that's a very important nutrient for us to have as well. When they're cooked, tomatoes have lycopene. As well, I'm going to be adding then our protein. And as I mentioned before, I use cashews because my son is allergic to pecans. So, but you can use whatever nut or seed that you choose. Like I mentioned, it could be cashews, it could be pecans, almonds, walnuts. But if you have nut allergies, you can go ahead and feel free to use these sunflower seeds as well. And you want to grind it so that it's in a consistency. I don't know if you can see that. You still want it to be chunky. You don't want it to be in a powder because you do want those chunks to be in your patty afterwards to crunch. It makes it very tasty. I'm going to add the cashews. Okay. Break them all out. And cashews have protein and it's all full of all kinds of good things for us. I'm going to go ahead and add the 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, and that's the product that I was showing you a little bit earlier. You can get nutritional yeast at the bulk food store. You can buy it at any health food store. Bob's Red Mill is a brand that has good nutritional yeast, but like I said, if you have a hard time finding it at a health food store, Bulk Barn carries it as well. So you can buy it in bulk and you can try it. I love to add it onto air popped popcorn. It's nice to make plant-based cheeses or kind of a plant-based creamy cheese sauces, things like that. So they're very, very good. I'm going to go ahead and add the 1/4 cup. Okay. Next, I'm going to add the herbs, all the seasonings. So I put them all in one container, but like in my container, I have the garlic powder, the basil powder, the minced onion, the ground coriander, Italian style seasoning, and I didn't add the herbamare yet. I'm gonna go ahead and add about, I usually taste it, but I add about maybe 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, but you can do that to taste, okay? So those are all the seasonings that I'm going to be adding as well. I'm going to add my fresh herbs, which is my chopped parsley. And like I said, you can feel free to replace your fresh parsley with whichever herb you have on hand and whichever herb you prefer. We like the parsley flavor because I add plenty of garlic and it's a nice freshener. Has really good chlorophyll and a lot of B vitamins, and any green is very good for us. So high in iron as well. So I'm going to add parsley, but you can add coriander, parsley, basil, whichever you prefer. If you don't have fresh, you can also just stick with the dried parsley or dehydrated parsley flakes, things like that. I'm going to add fresh garlic as well, because fresh garlic has allicin and a lot of antiviral, antibacterial, excellent for our health. So I always like to add fresh garlic in everything that I make, almost everything that I make. And I'm going to go ahead and just mince them through a garlic press. I'm going to press the garlic out right into our oats. And I put 2 good cloves. You saw the size that I used. Can you see that? So two nice cloves of garlic. I think this might be too big for my press, so I'm gonna add that in there. There we go. So that's our garlic. And by this point, you have quite the mishmash in your oats, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. I'm going to add the instant yeast, the active dry yeast. It's about a teaspoon, and the active dry yeast, it looks kind of like these little pellets. I don't know if you can see that. Tried to show you without pouring it on my computer. So it's basically, you can get that at pretty much any basic grocery store. We're adding the active dry yeast because we are baking our patties and we want them to be fluffy and delicious. So there goes my yeast. And last but not least, my cayenne. Like I said, I just put a dash because I like the flavor that it gives, but I don't want it to be, I don't want the patties to be hot and spicy. If you like hot and spicy, feel free to use more. We just use about a dash. So maybe 2 shakes. That's it, okay? And now I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all together into my oats. I'll bring it over here so I don't have my back turned to you. Let's see, I'm gonna stir it and then I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. So we're stirring it all together, and it's going to, you wanna make sure that you incorporate it well into your oats so that you don't have any chunks of solid oats or solid oatmeal, because then you're not going to have any flavor in that little section. So I usually just mix it up with my spatula so that I don't get my hands dirty. But you can go ahead and get your hands dirty and get right in there to incorporate all of our ingredients, all of our spices, nicely mixed into your cooked oats. And now this is a base recipe. You can absolutely add other things. I'm showing you sort of the basic oatmeal patty. You can go ahead and add things like beans. You can add black beans. You can mash the beans. You can mash some chickpeas in here for added protein as well. So whichever bean you like. You can absolutely add things like grated carrots or zucchini. You can add mushrooms. Mushrooms are excellent in here. Often I will mince some mushrooms or dice them very small, and they add a really nice flavor as well. So you can be creative with this. This is just sort of like the basic oatmeal patty recipe that you can then embellish or enjoy as is. The other thing about this recipe too is because it's nice and versatile, and the actual mixture is sort of firm, which I'll show you in just a moment. I'm almost done stirring it. I want to make sure I get it all incorporated into all the oats. You can go ahead and, oops, are they still with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my screen went black, I think, because I'm not doing anything. I was going on sleep mode. All right, so I've mixed everything nicely, and I'm going to show you what it all looks like. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. So this is what it looks like when it's all mixed in. Can you see that? Sort of looks like a paste. And I'll show you how we go ahead and use this to form our patties. One thing I forgot to mention is that you should preheat your oven. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to preheat my oven here to about 350 degrees. So you can set your oven while it's being shaped. So 350 is what you're going to be using for your baking temperature. Okay, so once you've got your oat mixture nicely seasoned, you can taste it if you think that, let me just give it a little taste here to make sure that it has enough salt. And that's why you have to make sure that you really mix it in well, otherwise your oats will be bland. And I think that's perfect. So feel free, like I said, feel free to add more or less salt or more or less of the seasonings as well. They are definitely to taste. This is a guideline, okay? Oh, no, I forgot to show you. You can use like the organic quick oats. That's perfectly fine. Or whatever oats you have. This is, if you get a gluten-free oats, this recipe is also gluten-free for those of you who are either allergic to wheat or to gluten. So you can definitely go ahead and buy whichever quick oats you have. I think there's a question on the chat. It's asking about, can we omit the dry yeast? Yes, you can absolutely omit the dry yeast as well. You don't need to use yeast in this recipe at all. But if you do use it, it just makes the patties a little bit like lighter, and they get a little bit fluffier and taller when you bake them. But I have had occasion where I would just omit the yeast and not use any yeast at all. You can just make the mixture with the oats, and it's just fine. Because I think sometimes if you run out of yeast, or if you don't have yeast, or you choose not to eat yeast, or you have allergies or whatever, you can absolutely omit that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and show you now how I form these patties, and it's actually very easy. It takes a little bit of time. Oh, I think there's another question. What would be a good substitute? Is this for the yeast, Risa? The active dry yeast? Did I answer your question? I'm not sure. Yes? No? I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I just saw that. All right, so here we go. So once your mixture is nicely blended with all your seasonings, I'm going to show you again what it looks like. It looks kind of like that. It looks a little bit dry, but it is moist because of the tomato sauce that we added to it. And I'm going to show you how I form these. So what I do is, it's kind of a cool little thing. I use the top of a wide mouth mason jar. So you can use a wide top. I just use the wide top because that way it is a larger size, and they're going to be all uniform in size. Okay, you're going to have a consistent sort of patty size. You can use the smaller lids for kids too. I'll show you what the smaller lid looks like. Sorry, stepping away. So this is what a regular mason jar, can you guys see that? Mason jar lid. I'm using the wide mouth, so it's a little bit bigger. You see that? Ooh, this technology makes it interesting. So yes, I'm using the wide, yeah. So you want the one that has the ring and the actual lid. So you put the lid on top of your ring. You use a spatula or whatever it is, a spoon. You're gonna scoop. I'm gonna try to show you this aerodynamically here. You're gonna put it on top like that, and then you're gonna smush it out. I'll show you. And you're gonna basically smush out and flatten it up so that your oat mixture is right inside your lid. Can you see that? And then I'm gonna try to show you. Let me see if I can. I have to turn the computer here. I'm gonna try to show you. You're gonna put it on. Okay, here's my baking sheet. You can use either whatever your baking sheet, nonstick. You can line it with parchment paper, but mine doesn't really need it because it's pretty seasoned. So what you do is you take the actual patty that we've scooped into our mason jar lid. I'm gonna flip it onto I'm gonna show it to you here. Flip it right onto, maybe I should turn it. Can you see that? Okay, so I'm gonna flip it onto my baking sheet, and I'm gonna use my spatula to just release it from the lid. And then you have a perfectly shaped and sized patty. Woo, sliding. Can you see that? Oh, this technology makes it fun. All right, so that's how you do it. You can go ahead and then take your mixture, like I said. I'm gonna show that to you again. Just put it right inside your lid. Even it out. Show you what I'm doing over here. You're gonna even it out like this. I'm gonna smush it right out so that it's flush with the lid. There you have it. See that? And then you're gonna go ahead and plop it right onto your baking sheet, release it with your spatula, and there you go. And you're gonna go ahead and do that with your entire mixture until you finish using up all of your oat mixture. Another thing that you can do that is interesting, I'm just gonna rinse my hand here for a sec. All right, so you can do that technique to have the actual burger patty shape. But another thing that you can do, let's say you'd like to use this mixture to make meatballs or meat balls or oat balls, as they really are. They're made with oats, so they're oat balls. So you can go ahead and take, you're getting a glare here. You would take 2 spoons and you would shape the mixture. You can shape it into a nice little ball, okay, as best as you can. It might not be perfectly round. You can go ahead and do this with your hands as well. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. All right, there we go. I'm gonna shape them into a nice little oat ball like that. And then you could go ahead and put those on your baking sheet as well. And they're pretty firm. They hold up pretty firmly. Okay, can you see that? I don't know if this light is glaring or not. Can you guys see? All right, so that's perfect. Sorry, I like to get feedback. I feel like I'm talking to myself when I have no feedback. So you can go ahead and make them into oat balls as well, which makes it a little bit more dynamic. And you can add them to your spaghetti or wherever you have meatballs, and you can bake them on your tray just the same way. So you would go ahead and complete your mixture. I'm gonna rinse my fingers again, excuse me. Okay, so you're going to continue that process. Whoops. You're going to continue that process with your entire mixture. And then once you've put all your mixture either into, sorry, I'm trying to maneuver this. So once you've got them all either into, where is it? There it is. You can either make the oat balls like that or the patties. And you're going to go ahead and do that. You can choose. What I like to do is I like to make half of it. The mixture will make you about 12 patties if you're going to make patties. If you want to make all patties, it'll make about 24 patties with the wide mouth mason jar lid that I showed you. It'll make about 24 patties with this size and this shape. If you make them into oat balls for your pasta or what have you, then you can go ahead and make those. I can't remember how many those make, but what I like to do is I like to make half and half. So I make 12 patties, and then the rest of the mixture on another tray, I make the oat balls. And then they're very easy to, once they're baked, they're very easy to freeze. They're actually freezable. So if you think that it's too many patties, don't worry, because once you make them, you don't have to consume them all at once. They keep very well in an airtight container in your fridge, but they also freeze well. So once they're baked, and I will show you. So you want, I'm trying to go ahead of myself here. Once you finish putting all your mixture onto your baking sheet, you're going to put that into the preheated oven, 350 degrees, and you're going to bake it for about 20 minutes. Set your oven timer for 20 minutes. You're going to bake one side, and then at about 20-minute point, you're going to turn your patties over, and you're going to bake on the other side for another 20 minutes. So it takes about 40 to 45 minutes for them to actually cook through and to bake well in your oven. Okay, and as I mentioned, it's a base recipe, and you can feel free to add whatever other ingredients that you have on hand: carrots, zucchini, bell peppers, I've done it with sweet potatoes, but they have to be cooked sweet potatoes already. So if you have leftover sweet potatoes, you can add mushrooms, but just be sure to check the consistency of the mixture so that it's still fairly dry. And as you can see, I handled it with my hand. I handled the little patty, right, or the little oat ball into my hand, and it was the consistency needs to be firm enough to do that. And you can also, like I said, substitute the cashews or the nuts for sunflower seeds if you for a nut-free option. Okay, you can actually omit all seeds as well. I just like adding the extra nuts or seeds for the added protein and the added nutrition value to it. And like I said, they can be shaped into patties or they can be shaped into balls. You can actually even put them into a loaf pan, like a banana bread loaf pan. You can put your entire mixture in a loaf and make it into a loaf as well. You just have to adjust the baking time. It would be probably closer 45 minutes to about an hour or so in the oven, but you'd need to check on it because obviously it's going to be thicker and in you know, a deeper dish type thing. Okay. Once they're actually pardon me?
Can we use steel cut oats?
You can use steel cut oats, absolutely. The only difference would be that you would have to let them cook for a longer time. So you can start with your base of oats, and you're going to cook them on your stove top first. So cook them according to the cook time for steel cut oats, which is longer. So if you'd like to use the steel cut oat option, another thing that you can do is measure out your steel cut oats and your water, and you can actually cook them overnight in a slow cooker, and then the next day it'll be ready to use. So that's another good option if you'd like to use the whole steel cut oats instead of the quick oats. Okay, so that's thanks for the question. I'm not sure if there are any other questions yet, but I'm going to just show you the finished product. I'm not going to take up time right now to finish forming the patties because it'll take some time. And I have one more recipe that I'd like to show you. So I'm going to show you the finished product. So once they're baked, I made these ahead of time. You're going to have these lovely, can you see that? You're going to have these lovely oat patties that you can then serve like a hamburger. So you can put them on whatever kind of bun that you enjoy. You can add whatever your toppings that you enjoy for burgers. Another way that you can have these patties is you can serve it with brown rice and a cooked side green. You can serve them with mashed potatoes. Whatever, any way that you would serve your patties. You can also just make a regular sandwich and add other things to it. You can add avocado slices, onion slices, tomato slices. Enjoy it anyway. My children, my family really enjoy these. And like I said, they're pretty versatile. That's in the patty shape. And I'll show you the oat balls. That's what they look like when they're in their little oat ball shape. And these we enjoy like I said, over pasta with your, you know, whatever favorite sauce. You can pour a tomato-based sauce over these, over a nice bed of pasta with greens and some sprouts, and they're very versatile and they're very tasty. Everybody, this is kind of like when I asked my family, what should I show? They said, show the oat patties. So if they like it, it's pretty much a hit. And they're good. Somebody's asking if I do roadside pickup. I can if you'd like. I live a little bit far though, so I'm not sure. Okay, so that's the baked oatmeal patties. Are there any questions about this recipe before I move on to the next one?
Susanna?
Yes.
I just want to make an announcement. It looks like people can't unmute. I think only a few of us can. So everyone, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Basically, you can accept it or not, but basically I'm enabling everyone to unmute.
Sure.
So if you don't want to unmute, just say yes, but then mute your microphone. Okay, thank you.
No problem. And I'm not reading all the chats right now. So if there is a question in the chat that I've missed, let me just take a quick little scroll here. So I think I answered the question about the yeast and the steel cut oats and a substitute for the yeast and the oats. I answered that. Let me see. Okay. And there was a question, can you freeze them before baking? That's a good question. I have not tried doing that simply because they're not firm enough. So what I typically do is I bake them. So I'll do like a batch cooking, like for example, today, Sunday, I'm baking all of these, not only to show you, but I bake them and then I have them all ready. And then once they've cooled off and once they're in already done like this, you can go ahead and then put them either in an airtight glass freezer safe container, or you can even just grab a Ziploc bag because they're already firm. My hands are clean. I'm going to just show you. They're firm like this, right? So you don't have to worry about them. They're not crumbly. They don't fall apart. And then once you are ready to use them, they're quick. You just go ahead and grab your Ziploc bag from your freezer, pull out however many you want to serve for that meal. It can be just 1 or 2. If you're, on your own, if you have a family, you can take out as many as you like. And I usually just warm them up in my toaster oven. You can also warm them up if you're grilling vegetables, let's say, and you're going to do like a barbecue. Then you can go ahead and grill some corn, grill some zucchini and peppers and eggplant or whatever it is you like to grill. Take these out of the freezer, just put them on your grill as well, and they will be nice and toasty, and it'll get a little bit of that taste from the grill as well, and they're good to go. So once they're baked, you can have them as a quick, instead of buying any store-bought like Beyond Burgers or whatever you can find at the health food store or the grocery store, this is a much healthier alternative, and it's homemade, so you know exactly what's in it, and they're just as convenient and quick and easy to grab from the freezer. So I usually do that. Okay, so I've never frozen before. Next question on here says, do patties and balls take the same time to cook? Yes, because the patties or the balls, even though they're smaller, the texture itself inside, like the height of it, still requires a good cooking time. Yeah, I would say it's still about 40 to 45 minutes, but you can check them as well as they're cooking.
Do you have a gravy sauce you could share?
Which sauce?
A gravy sauce? A gravy sauce?
I do. I have really delicious cashew gravy sauces that you can add on top when you're serving it as a meal. I'm not going to be showing that today, but maybe at a later date I can show that, okay? Okay, and I think, are there any other questions so that I could, let's just see. Oh, excellent. Patty says that she has all the ingredients, so she'll be making them today. Oh, praise God. Can we use small lids? Yes, you can use small lids. You can do it whatever size that you like. I just like the wide mouth lids because it makes sort of a bigger patty. That's just a preference. You don't even need to use any lid. You can shape them on your hands. I just find that it gets messier, and on the lid it's nice and easy and quick, and they're all uniform. So when they're done, they look nice and neat. It's like, wow, they look professional because they're all the same size. Okay. As somebody's asking, can I use veg broth instead of tomato sauce? Absolutely. It's whichever wet ingredient that you want to add. You can also make these oil-free, okay? So this is just the version that we make. And like I said, you can make the adjustments that you need based on your health requirements or based on your family's preferences or even allergies sometimes. So yes, you can use veggie broth. I would probably use less veggie broth though if I was going to use that route, because then they might be a little bit too wet. So it's a cup of the tomato sauce, and it's kind of chunky. Start with about half a cup of the veggie broth, mix it, and then see how that goes. If it looks too wet, don't put any more. If it looks like it could still handle a little bit more, you can go ahead and add up to a cup of it, okay? And that's, I think I got that. All right, did I get all of these? Did I get everybody's question? You can, if you're unmuted, you can feel free to jump in and speak. Good. All right, so I'm going to show you the next recipe. We're going to pass our our patties to the side. I'm going to just move these items over. The next recipe that I'm going to be showing you today, is nice cream. And yeah, you're not hearing it wrong. It's not ice cream, it's nice cream. Not only is it nice because it is dairy free and cruelty free and kind to animals that our creator made, but it's also nice because it's delicious. And I have a few little friends who had some yesterday and they really enjoyed it. So they kept asking me for more. So that was a really sweet compliment. So I'm going to show you how to make them. They're literally very quick and easy. You can whip them up. If you have frozen bananas, you can whip them up in literally 5 minutes, and which is about as much time as we have. So the nice cream recipe I'm going to be sharing with you. I will, whoops, can you see that? Don't worry if you can't. I'm going to share the actual recipe PDF for those who are interested in receiving those. So the nice cream ingredients, very basic, very easy. You need, for the basic recipe, you would use 3 frozen bananas, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened non-dairy milk, which I'll show you, a pinch of fine sea salt, and 3 tablespoons of carob powder, so that they're almost chocolate, but healthier. So I'll show you those ingredients. Sorry, I'm kind of going behind my camera here because I want to show you the ingredients. Okay, let's see if I can, I'm going to be showing. Okay, so what I typically do, I'm just going to grab one more thing, sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. So what I would typically do is when you buy bananas and you, let's say you don't finish them or you don't have, you haven't consumed them all and you don't want to make banana bread. Banana bread is a wonderful option for ripe bananas as well. But this is a nice frozen treat that you can have, and it makes a really healthy dessert to conclude your meal, or you can actually have it with your breakfast, or have it so that over top of waffles, homemade waffles or pancakes. So you would start with 3 frozen bananas, not 3 cups. You're going to need a high-powered blender. So I'm going to see if I can maneuver the camera again. Bear with me just one moment. Okay, can you see my counter again?
Yes.
All right. So you need, I'm going to be using my Vitamix, but you can use whichever high-powered blender that you have. And I'm going to show you what I do here. So you're going to add 3 frozen bananas. So the tip that I was going to give is when you have bananas and you don't consume them, or you don't finish eating them fresh the way that they are, you can go ahead. Once they start to get a little bit speckled or a little bit browner, you can freeze them, peel them, chop them into little rounds. I already have mine in like pre-measured baggies, or not. It's totally up to you. So that's exactly 3 bananas. Pop them in the freezer, and then they're ready to use for nice cream. They're ready to use for smoothies, or any such power protein drinks or things like that. So you're going to add your 3 bananas straight into your Vitamix. Okay, I'm just going to wash my spatula. We don't want any of the oat patty ingredients going into our nice cream. So I'm just going to clean off my spatula. So I'm going to go ahead and add my 3 bananas, 3 frozen bananas, and then you're going to use pure maple syrup. So if you can get maple syrup that is local and made fresh from a farm near you, that's what this is from. But you can go ahead and buy your 100% pure maple syrup from the grocery store as well. Not pre-measuring this. What am I measuring? What did I say it was? 2 teaspoons. Okay. I'm going to use my teaspoon and my. So you're going to put 2 teaspoons of the maple syrup right in. So 1, 2. Okay. And then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of unsweetened non-dairy milk. Now the non-dairy milk that I'm using for this is an oat beverage. You can use unsweetened almond milk, you can use unsweetened soy milk, rice milk, whatever plant-based milk that you enjoy, you can use, okay? So I get these at Costco. All it contains is water and oats, okay? So it's very clean and very healthy. But like I said, you can use homemade almond milk, you can use cashew milk, you could use whatever plant-based milk you enjoy, and you only need 2 tablespoons of that. So you're going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons. So 1, 2, and then you're going to add 3 tablespoons of carob powder. Carob is a chocolate replacement, which is also a very healthy alternative to chocolate, because chocolate, some people choose not to consume chocolate because it contains caffeine and some other sort of stimulating ingredients in it. So we choose to use carob, but you can absolutely, if you do consume chocolate, then you can use a cacao powder for this instead, okay? So you use about 3 tablespoons of carob powder. I'm gonna pop that right in. There we go. And literally just a pinch of fine sea salt. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab my little pinch, literally just a pinch. See, the sea salt brings out the flavor and it helps to set it as well. Okay, and that's it. I'm gonna take a minute to just blend this, so bear with the noise and bear with my back for a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and cover my Vitamix. And it's gonna make a bit of a rattly noise here. Sorry for the noise, and that's it. I'm gonna just double check to make sure I got all the banana. And it looks like I did. I'm gonna show that to you. Oops. All right. So I'm gonna try to show you the consistency of that. You see how nice and thick that is? I'm gonna, so you can just literally grab it with your spatula and it's nice and firm. It makes a very healthy and very delicious soft serve style ice cream, but better. It's nice cream. You're going to go ahead and see that doesn't roll off my counter. Try to show you the consistency of it in my Vitamix. Nice and thick. And I'll show you what that looks like. You can go ahead, you can choose to serve it immediately like this if you're ready to enjoy it. And I'm going to grab it with a spoon. I'm going to grab a spoon. I'm going to go ahead and grab it, put it in a little container so you can see what it looks like. It makes a really lovely soft serve ice cream that you can enjoy pretty much immediately, so that you can see how beautiful that is. And you can top it with a nice fresh mint leaf. Mint and chocolate or carob go beautiful together. And there is your very fast, very healthy, very delicious ice cream. Can you see that?
Yep.
All right. I will give you some variations on that. These can also be, you can adjust the flavor. Let's say that you're not a fan of chocolate or carob and you've never, you don't really want to get into that. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this. Not quite used to the camera thing. Okay, so you can choose some additional ingredients for specific flavors. So you can try, instead of the carob powder or the cacao, you can try adding a cup of frozen berries. So you can add, instead of the 3 bananas then, you would use 2 frozen bananas and a cup of frozen berries of your choice. You can use strawberries or raspberries or blueberries. They need to be frozen though, so that you can enjoy it right away. Or a different flavor could be, instead of the 3 tablespoons of the carob powder, you could use 3 tablespoons of peanut butter or almond butter or whatever nut butter you like, and have it sort of be a banana and peanut butter combination, which tastes really good. I have some big fans of that flavor. You can even use the chunky peanut butter and have the little chunks of peanuts in there. My son loves peanuts, so he really likes that version. Or you can add nothing, and instead of adding the carob powder, you can add carob chips or dark chocolate chips straight to the banana. You can add the chocolate chips to the chocolate, but that would just make it super chocolatey. If you're into that, go for it. You can add chocolate chips to that or chocolate shavings. But those are just some ideas. You basically, this is again a base recipe. I chose to show you the carob one, but you can feel free to mix and match and be creative with your flavorings according to your taste, according to what you like. And it's a very easy and a very delicious, nice cream. It's kind and it's fast. You saw how fast it was. As long as you have your fruits already frozen, you can even make it with mangoes. It's really good with mango too, mango and banana. It's
Can we sprinkle hemp hearts on top or anything we can sprinkle? What would you suggest?
Absolutely. You can doll this up as much as you want now. I would serve that with, for example, you can chop up some strawberries on top of here, fresh strawberries or raspberries. You can sprinkle it with dehydrated, unsweetened coconut flakes. You can add hemp hearts. You can add crushed nuts. You can add whatever you would add to your ice cream and make it into a sundae even. So good. And it literally is refreshing and it's quick. No animal cruelty. It's nice cream. It's kind and it's healthy. It's not only kind and healthy for the animals that you're not taking the dairy and the milk from, it's also nice and kind to our bodies, which are temples of the Holy Spirit. And God created us to be healthy and strong and energetic so that we could serve him, so we can bring him honor and glory, but also so that we could be a blessing to one another, so we can be helpful and kind to each other, right? So the idea is to eat kind, live kind, and be kind to one another, because that's the ultimate goal of showing Jesus's love, isn't it? Anyway, are there any other questions? Oh, you can also drizzle it with a fruit syrup, or, you know, like grind, for example, puree some raspberries and pour raspberry sauce on top of that. It's very good. It's very versatile, and it's delicious. Any questions? Let me check the chat to see if there's anything on here that I may have missed. Let me see. Whoops. Am I getting onto the chat here? Oh, here we go.
Susanna?
Yes.
Susanna, I think there was a question by Mark asking, can I use veg broth instead of tomato sauce? Did you answer that one?
I think I answered that.
Oh,
did
okay.
I answer that, Mark?
Maybe you did. Maybe I missed it.
Yes, she did.
Okay. Let me just check. Yes, it really looks like ice cream. It really is ice cream. It's nice cream, and it is yum. Less animal cruelty too, absolutely. Riza's saying, can't wait to make the choco banana flavor. Yes, so I do have a Facebook and an Instagram page, and I post at least once or twice a week. I post some recipes and things that we're making as well. And you know, feel free to follow if you have any questions. I do live cooking classes as well in my home. Obviously now because of COVID, I'm not doing those. But hopefully once everything gets back to normal, you can join me live in my kitchen and enjoy some nice country air and learn how to make the food. And then you actually get to taste it. I'm sorry that you're not able to taste today. I would be so happy to share that with you, but I must confess, my family's kind of secretly happy that nobody's coming to taste it, because then they get to enjoy it. That's a little bit cruel for you guys, but it is delicious. And I certainly hope that you guys try it. And I hope that it's been a blessing and that you've enjoyed it. And that brings us to the end of our live cooking demo. I'm not sure if anybody has any other questions. If you do, you can feel free to unmute now and go ahead and ask. I'll be happy to answer.
Yep. Thank you, Susanna. I'm just going to leave it open for a little bit.
Sure.
For anyone who wants to talk to you.
Hi.
Hi.
I did type a question about combinations with mangoes. Which combinations have you made with mangoes?
Basically, like I said, when I do the banana base, I instead of using 3 frozen bananas, I use 2, so it's not as overpowering. But you can still use 3 and make more. This serves about 2 people. This recipe serves about 2 nice cups that I showed you. If you're going to make it for more, then you can absolutely add more. But for the mango combination, I would use 2 frozen bananas, and a cup of frozen mangoes. You can get frozen mangoes at any grocery store. You can actually get frozen fruits in packages at grocery stores for smoothies and stuff. This is a really good alternative to smoothies. It makes a really nice dessert. So yeah, another recipe that I have, if you're not if you don't really love banana as a flavor, you can also make this kind of nice cream with full fat coconut milk. And it makes a very creamy, a little bit fattier because coconut has natural fat, but it's all good fats anyway. Coconut, it makes a really nice coconut-based nice cream instead of a banana-based one. And I find that I really enjoy that one with mangoes. But you can go ahead and do 2 bananas and 1 cup of frozen mangoes, and it tastes good. You can actually leave some chunks of the mango in there as well. Or once it's made, you can slice some fresh mango and top the nice cream with it as well.
Thank you.
No problem, my pleasure. Karina's asking if I make these aprons. Not this one, I haven't made this one, but I do make aprons. And thank you so much for sharing those wonderful vegan recipes. Oh, thank you very much. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Miles family, and Patty is asking, can I make a big batch and freeze it? Oh, thank you for pointing that out. The nice cream, yes, you don't have to serve it right away. As you can see, you can prepare it and serve it immediately. I was actually going to show you that. Thank you for that. You can go ahead and put it in a freezer safe. Sorry, I'm walking away again for a minute. I put mine in, see, this is how I have mine, in these freezer safe glass lock lids. And you would make your nice cream. I made this one earlier. Let's see if it works. You can freeze it in these containers and have it in your freezer. If you have it in your freezer for, let's say overnight, like this is one that I made this morning. I made half of a container, because that's the other thing that you can do is you can make more than one flavor and put it in, let's see, put it in the same container. I poured the one that I made. It's solid, so I can flip it. This is the carob one, this one. Okay, and now I can make a second flavor and put it here. And then I would go ahead and scrape and have 2 flavors. And that's really nice too. So I'll show you the consistency. Once it's in the freezer, can you see that? There's my ice cream scoop. You see I can scoop it really nicely. And you can go ahead. See that?
Yes.
And you like I said, you can have 2 flavors. You can absolutely put it, I'm putting it back in there because I'm not going to serve it right now. Put the carob ball back in. If you've made it and you've left it overnight, it does firm up. It gets very hard. So if you make it and freeze it and have it in your freezer like this indefinitely, just make sure that when you want to enjoy it, when you want to serve it, you take it out of your freezer about 15 to 20 minutes before you want to serve it so that you can scoop it like that. Otherwise, it'll be kind of firm and you'll be picking at it with a spoon or something. So a tip is that if you do freeze it for longer than you want to serve it, then just let it sit on your counter at room temperature for a little bit before you serve it. But you can absolutely make it ahead of time and have it in your freezer ready to go so that whenever you want to enjoy some of that, you can enjoy some nice cream like that. And
When's your next
mix
class?
and match? When's my, well, I'll keep you posted. That was, it's not quite booked yet. Are there any other questions? Let's see what I have here. Can I make a big batch and freeze it? Yes, you absolutely can. Riza's saying, yep, coconut cream and mango is a perfect combination. It really is. It's delicious. How much coconut milk? So that's a whole different recipe because you balance it a little bit differently. But if you send me a message, I'm happy to email you the recipe. Okay. You can get in touch with Compassion Health, or you can get in touch with me at Arlete_Susanna at notbybreadalone.ca. My website is notbybreadalone.ca. And you can subscribe there, or you can look for me on Facebook or on Instagram. And I share ideas and inspiration for meals, and they're all plant-based and they're all healthy. And I will be sharing these 2 recipes that I showed you today. I will post them. If you get in touch with Compassion Health, they will let me know, and we'll work it out so that everybody who's participated today can receive the recipes from today's demo. Okay. Oh, there, Eunice is asking, how can we get a copy of the recipes? There you go. That answers your question. So it's my pleasure to share with you guys. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer. If not, then have a wonderful day and blessings on the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Put my nice cream back in the freezer.